We call it CGA in short form, but it's Cereal Growers Association. As the name association suggests, this is many farmers coming together to have a bargaining power. And that is the sole mandate of Cereal Growers Association. It started 20 years ago. If anything, we should be even celebrating our 20 years, CGA at 20 years. And when started as a wheat growers association, and initially it was started by large-scale farmers who are few in Kenya and countable, and they wanted to champion their interest and even lobby for better prices, lobby for better services, and also increase efficiency in the way they do farming. Later on, they thought it's very wise to involve a wide range of farmers, that is not only large-scale farmers, but involve also the medium-scale farmers, also involve, more so important, the small-scale farmers. So at the moment, we are cereal growers. So we are operating in 22 counties which plant cereal in Kenya. This is a national outfit that serves all Kenyans, irrespective of where they come from. But we measure our work in the 22 cereal growing counties, and we have our presence there. In each county we have staff, or 1 or 2 staff working there to further the interest of the association. Our main, as I mentioned, our main work is to bring farmers together so that they can have a collective bargain. I remember earlier I mentioned about inefficiencies that is really facing our farmers. When we bring farmers together, we can be able to solve some of the inefficiencies. Farmers can be able to procure inputs jointly. They can be able to sell their produce jointly. They can be able to get services jointly at a better prices. And when that happens, we'll be eliminating inefficiencies, which will lead to higher productivity, and in turn, the farmer will have some income and some money in their pockets. And in the long run, we'll be able to minimize the effects of hunger in our country. We also, as cereal growers, we do lobby and advocacy for our members. We have members. We have over 30,000 members of the growers who are members. And then we have also what we call the associate members. Those are companies that work with us. We have around over 50 of them who work with us together. So we lobby on issues that touch the farmers. For example, the recent one is last year, 2016, we lobbied for wheat farmers to get good prices, because we realized by the time we are harvesting our wheat in Kenya, the other time Argentina is harvesting their wheat. So farmers, the millers, will prefer to go and import wheat that gets to Nairobi at 2,400 per 90 kg rather than buy 3,000 for our local farmers. So our local farmers end up having no market, and they sell their wheat at throwaway price, slightly above 2,000. So we did that successfully with the Ministry of Agriculture and Finance, and we are able to register all the wheat farmers, and they are able to get better prices. And when I mean better is they were able to get 3,150 per 90 kg back from what they used to get below 2,400. So the millers were pushed to buy all the local wheat before they are given the certificate to import wheat. So that's part of the thing that we lobby. We also provide input linkages. We link our farmers to different companies. We also link them to technology, whereby we help our farmers to acquire different technology and adopt them. And this is done through workshops in a meeting setup. It is done through field days, expansive field days, where we have over 1,000 farmers. We also take lead in key trade fairs, like this one of University of Electorate. We were very key partners for the last 14 years. We have been partnering them and taking lead. And for the last 3 years, in 2015, we registered farmers, 14,000 farmers here in this University of Electorate agribusiness fair, farmers, then a trade fair. We also help in mobilizing farmers to come and attend such a function. Last year, we had around 12,000 farmers attending this function, courtesy of CGA, Cereal Growers Association. And this year also, we are also participating in a big way to ensure that farmers come and see for themselves, learn new technologies, and see how farming can be done in a better way than what they do. And in the long run, they'll be improving the productivity and improving livelihood. That is what we do as CGA in a nutshell.
Now, for a case like when farmers in the North Rift are saying that the pesticides that were recommended by government were so expensive,
Yes.
would there be alternative, any other provision for the farmers?
Yeah, what we tell farmers is that let us come together, work together. When you do it jointly, when you procure the pesticides jointly, it becomes cheaper because the companies can deliver to your doorstep, you save transport, the companies can give to you at a discounted prices. And when you do that, also when you do it jointly, you'll even have a spraying program, and even the whole village, you can be able to manage that fall annual. So there is power, bargaining power when you come together. Collectivity is very important. And we have initiated some programs, we call it value chain platforms. We are doing it very well in Narok and Nakuru, where we develop platforms right away from the ward. Come to sub-county, then come to county. So that when we have meeting at ward level, who know who matters in maize, who matters in wheat, those farmers come and air their views, we share ideas, and we chart way forward. Similarly, when we come to sub-county level, the same is done. When you come to county level, the same is done. And we believe if we do that and we organize cereal sector, then we'll talk of enough food for Kenya.
KEFIs talk of certifying certain companies to sell seeds.
Yes.
How come still farmers buy from uncertified companies?
Thank you. As I mentioned, you know, it's a vicious circle. Inputs, they take almost 40% of the whole cost. Not even 40, it's almost 70% of the whole cost that goes
Farmers.
into the input. So, and seed, fertilizer, those are very key inputs, and also land preparation. So sometimes farmers find themselves in a fix. They don't have money to buy the inputs. They don't have money to buy seeds. So what the farmer does is, but this is on a small scale. It's a small scale. And those are farmers maybe who have less than a half an acre or a quarter an acre. They recycle some of the seeds. They are able to harvest last season and plant them. But what I want to say, the seed companies are doing a good job, and we have quite a number of them, and they're ensuring that we have sufficient supply for our farmers in North Rift. And you know, farmers in North Rift are very sensitive about seeds. They know, and we have done it through CGA. We have trained them. I forgot to mention, part of what we do is capacity building of the farmers on good agronomical practices. Apart from linkage, you can link them to seed companies, but we also need to tell them what is the best seed variety for this region based on the altitude. So we have also educated them that if you want good output, you need also to use certified seeds, so they know.
What is your relationship? How do you relate to Kenya Seed? How do you relate to KEFIs, and how do you relate to other stakeholders like research organizations?
Thank you very much. You know, in this cereal sector, you can't work alone, and you cannot work with farmers alone. That's why we call it a value chain. You need everybody, every actor on board, so that you can all have it done, so that it becomes a win-win situation. And what we are not advocating for only farmers, but we want to have a fair ground. You ask the relationship with seed companies, with KEFIs, like the government agencies, the KEFIs, the Cultural Research, the Ministry of Agriculture, those are collaborators. We don't do anything in their counties without their knowledge. Where we need their input, we do. Stakeholder meetings, we participate together. And seed companies, as you mentioned, those are our associate members. They are part of CGA membership. So whenever we have field days, we invite them. Whenever we have activities like linkages, we link farmers to them. So we don't have any other relationship beyond that. That's how we relate.
Help us understand, what must we do? Give us some recommendations, and it's not only to the farmers, but to every stakeholders in the farming sector. How can we improve farming? How can we improve farming in general, and the cereal industry?
Thank you very much. We need to do a lot to rejuvenate our cereal farming, and especially in North Rift. We need to ensure that we minimize inefficiencies in our sector, and I call upon the government agencies, the other non-governmental actors in the sector to work together as a team. When you work together as a team, part of the problem will be solved. But it's unfortunate that most of us, everybody works on his own, and in the long run we don't achieve anything. We keep on duplicating, and even the funding partners should find a way where all these partners can work together so that we know who plays which part in the sector. Instead of duplicating roles, we keep on, for example, you train a group today, another partner comes there, tomorrow trains the group, it becomes boring. Even farmers sometimes give up on that. And the other issue is on the issue of inputs. We need to find ways as a sector to ensure that we have farmers can access inputs with ease. If it means providing loans that are affordable, we need to find ways of doing that so that farmers can have access inputs on time, so that when they access inputs on time, we are sure of good harvest. The other thing is we need to make farming all-inclusive, not just for a few members of the family. This has been a disease here, whereby even those people who own land in North Rift, they don't want to allow their young ones to participate in the farming. And it's high time that we allow the young Turks who have energy, who have the passion to take over farming, but with the guidance of the old guys, the old guards. So if we do that, I feel, because the old ones are getting tired, and even when they get tired, productivity is also going low. They have no time to move around. And I also encourage people not to farm with telephone. Telephone farming is also a major challenge in Kenya. We need to move on the farms and be available so that we can produce what we want to produce. Those are part of my recommendation that I will want to make. And also, I will recommend that we think of diversification in many ways. That means one is that we think of doing other crops to complement the cereal, the maize, and the wheat we are doing here. We are also talking about we need to move away from rain-fed agriculture. This region has a potential even to have 2 seasons of different crops. After maize, we have like 5 months, from November to the months of March. The lands are lying fallow. So we need to think of introducing irrigation, water-fed, then irrigation-fed agriculture.
So what is your challenge to research institutions, to the universities?
The universities, people are also tired of the same varieties of, for example, maize. If you talk of Pana, you come and talk of 981. So farmers are tired of the same breeds. People want improvement every day. The research institute, the seed companies should up their game. And I also want to mention, as much as we are moving away from technology, now that we have the fall armyworm, we need to think about biotechnology to help us in terms of getting the right variety that is resistant to the fall armyworm. Otherwise, if we don't do that, in the next 2-3 years, we will not talk of maize. I want to cite, we have the BT maize. BT maize, those are resistant to these, to stem borers. We call them the stem borers, yes. They are resistant to stem borers. And I believe equally they are resistant to this fall armyworm because they have mechanisms which irritate the fall armyworm, and in the long run, it doesn't survive because it cannot eat it. So we need to embrace technology and embrace the BT maize. I know the BT maize are at the field trials. Given the opportunity, this is the way Kenya should go. Otherwise, this is a menace that is not hitting Kenya. It has hit East Africa and even Africa at large. And if we are not careful, we are going to suffer in terms of food insecurity.